just putting the links out there on Twitter and Truth Social. There we go. Uh-oh, hold on. I gotta tweet this out. How do I spell ain't wrong? Ain't spelled right, fuck you. Okay, what is this? This is my dashboard, right? What is going on here? Okay, let's get back over here. Alright, make sure we're live. Yes, we're live on the Bumblebee. We're not live on IG yet. Let's take care of that biz right now. Karen, hello. Karen goes out of her way to be first in the morning. I'm impressed. That is impressive, Karen. Alright, let's go live over here. Okay, we're live on the IG. Great, we're live everywhere. All right, so let's pull up the video, man. The video we're going to be watching today is brought to you by YouTube. And the content creator's name is PotHoler. Somebody that I've implored you guys to follow and watch for years, but I bet you none of you do watch PotHoler. But just so you know, yes, I do make a pretty big deal about people like Thunderfoot, PotHoler, and people that debunk the bullshit that we're fed constantly on the internet. You know, we're fed all kinds of bullshit, and I just try to, you know, give you guys the truth. You know, I try to clear things up for you because I know you're getting lied to constantly, and I'm kind of here to just combat that. Dage Lee, good morning, buddy. Gonna refresh that chat. Hello, Dage Lee. Thank you for the chat. I'm gonna refresh the chat because it said 0 viewers. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and bring up the video. We'll watch PotHoler. I just think that where's the PotHoler video? That's weird. It's not coming up. You know, it's so stupid how this does this. It's because I dragged it from another window. And so it doesn't come up in my OBS. It is so weird. Don't ask. It's just dumb. Dumb. Here it is. Okay, I found it. So I had to refresh it and do it again. Okay, so let's just get in on this video. And once again, I'm going to say it. Look, you guys should all go to YouTube and you should follow PotHoler on YouTube. PotHoler. PotHoler. He's a debunker. He's very well educated and very well spoken. He's very smart. He knows what he's talking about. He does all of his research and he makes excellent videos. So go follow PotHoler. I'm pretty sure none of you do. You know, because, you know, hey, Asa, what's up? I just know. I know that none of you follow PotHoler, but you should. And we've watched him plenty of times on the show, and yeah, you should be following him. You know, so go over to YouTube, go find PotHoler's channel, and follow him and learn. All right, and quit being fooled by all these idiots and liars out there. There's a whole bunch of them. Rising is one of them. Now, you might remember a while back I called out Rising because they were reporting on UFO sightings from the fucking government, which was the dumbest shit I had ever seen in my entire life. I told you, watch this Rising outfit. They're bullshit. They're liars. They're hacks. They don't know what real report. They wouldn't know a fact if it came up and slapped them in their fat fucking lie-espousing mouths. They'd have no clue what a fact is. Anyway, PotHoler went after them. and I couldn't be happier. Finally, I'm not the only one on the internet who sees the idiots out there and calls them exactly what they deserve to be called. PotHoler, Thunderfoot's doing it. That gentleman, I cannot remember his name, but he does the photography debunking. He's great at he's debunked all the UFO. How about the whales? Oh, great, Asa, then you're ahead of the rest of the class. Excellent. Well, now you know who PotHoler is, and you know he's an intelligent guy. He does all of his research, and you can trust him. So let's watch this, and I think you guys are going to enjoy it, because you might remember Donald Trump was the one who came out and said that wind farms were killing whales. Of course, that's a lie, because Donald Trump is a big, fat fucking liar. I don't know how many times I have to tell some of you guys this before it'll finally sink in, and I don't fucking care. If you still trust him, you're an idiot. Don't come anywhere near me. This is for those of you who've been watching Rising and other bullshit shows out there, and you want to see these morons get debunked like they deserve to be, because I've debunked them plenty of times in the past. PotHoler did it now. You're going to enjoy this show, so let's watch. 25 minutes, too.
Because last weekend, another dead whale was found on America's eastern coast. They saw another whale had washed up.
The media and the blogosphere have been full of stories.
Let me just stop right there. That's Brianna Joy Gray from Rising. She doesn't do her homework. She's not a good reporter. She's a Hamas supporter, and she's a fucking idiot. She makes no sense. She also sat there quietly while the guy next to her sat there and talked about UFO bullshit and gave no pushback. So she's an idiot too, right? Well, there's her show, and look, it says, how the wind industry is behind the imminent extinction of North Atlantic right whales. Do you see? This is what PotHoler is showing you right now. He's showing you that their subtitle, their bottom third, the lower third of their show, in the text, is literally just lying to you. That's not true, but this is what Rising does. Okay? They're idiots. They believe anybody that they want to, and they'll never go get a second source on anything, and you should never trust the motherfuckers at Rising. Ever. Don't trust them for anything, man. All right? You can't trust liars. If you want people to trust you when you're telling the truth, then you have to tell the truth all the time. You can't just, be fair weather friends to the fucking truth. When it works for you, yeah, then you're on the truth. But when it goes against your narrative, then you're going to tell lies to your audience. You can't be that idiot. She's a fucking dumb fuck, okay? She sits next to another dumb fuck, and all they do is they vomit out lies to their audience. This is one of them.
Recently asking if there's a connection between wind farms and whale deaths.
They weren't asking, they were stating it as if it were fact.
Always, I want to fact check all these claims by tracking down their sources.
Thank you, PotHoler. Thank you, PotHoler.
Does sonic surveying for wind farms disturb or even kill
PotHoler
whales?
54, my bad.
Is there a correlation between...
My bad, I've got the channel name wrong. It's PotHoler 54. I'm sorry, I got that wrong. I left off the 54. So I'll change the title while we're watching this.
In whale deaths and wind farm traffic. Is this an issue we should be concerned about in other countries that are thinking of building wind farms? We'll see what the science says, and of course we'll play Spot the Seinfeld reference. So let's start by finding out who's making these claims and listen to their evidence.
For years, the government has insisted that the increase in whale deaths off the East Coast has no relationship to the wind industry's high-decibel pile driving and boat activity.
For years, government agencies have claimed no relation between recent increases in whale deaths and the wind industry.
Well, before we even start to see where these claims come from,
it's the premise.
The introductions themselves
are
misinformed.
Right, it's built on a false premise.
Determination about the cause of whale deaths is not the government, but veterinarians, biologists, and researchers. And more importantly, neither the government nor government agencies have ever...
And let me just pause for 1 second and just say this. Hey man, your tax dollars fund these government agencies, and they're there to try to bring you the facts of just about any given situation that they address. If these cunts in the journalism bubble, they want to act like the government lies about everything to you and everything's a conspiracy, and how the fuck are we supposed to get through a day? Sometimes the government gets shit right. We got traffic lights. Those seem to work pretty good. Stop signs, government got that one right. They got that right. What else do they get right? Well, we've got a military. Well, the government got that right. Oh, no, everything the government says is a lie. It's all... Really? Huh. The government does a lot of shit for us, don't they? Wow, there's a lot of shit the government says that's true. A lot. So just because it came from a government official or a agency with 3 letters, it doesn't make it a lie. You know? Now, the word lie, that's 3 fucking letters, and that's what I want you to focus on. The actual lies, not the letters of the agencies they're claiming are, telling you lies, which it turns out the government agencies were telling the truth the whole time. Yeah, there's no correlation. I don't want to spoil the ending. But let's keep going. Here, watch this.
Ever said there's no connection between whale deaths and wind farms. The government agency responsible, which gets its information from scientific studies, simply says there's just no evidence of a connection. All they know is that around 40% of dead whales have either been struck by ship propellers or entangled in fishing lines. Anyway, now that we've corrected those claims, let's find out who they're introducing.
Former gubernatorial candidate and best-selling author Michael Schellenberger.
Okay, and who else?
But now, according to friend of the show Michael Schellenberger, a new documentary...
Friend of the show.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, of course he's a friend of the show.
Schellenberger isn't a marine biologist.
He's a Schellenberger.
He has no expertise in this field, and he's never done any research.
He's a shill for the energy industry.
Acoustics or statistics.
But you'll find that out later.
He's just someone who can go for a long time without blinking. Is there someone who can talk about this subject who's actually done any research?
Is anyone here a marine biologist?
Oh, this looks promising.
The producer of that film, author, journalist, and founder of Environmental Progress, Michael Schellenberger.
Okay, fair point. It's not all wall-to-wall Michael Schellenberger. There are lots of other people concerned about the issue.
Like Donald Trump, for instance.
But I'll look at this.
And, and I wouldn't be surprised if Tim Pool has covered this as well.
Environmental Progress, Michael Schellenberger.
Okay, fair point. It's not all wall-to-wall Michael Schellenberger. There are lots of other people concerned about the issue.
Yeah, but it was the government who allowed those inventions to be put in place, you fucking dumb cunt. And let me tell you something else, Mr. Savage. Your mom's a dumb cunt because she raised a dumb cunt. So fuck you and your cunt mother. Fucking idiot. Mr. Deep. Oh, you thought you were going to come in here and deep think on me, you douchebag? You're an idiot. Get out of here.
Schellenberger's name kept popping up.
And Mr. Cunt,
this video has been
bitch.
Getting a lot of attention in certain sections of the media, and judging by the comments underneath, it's...
I love these little gotcha cunts,
According to the captions,
So funny.
this video either found a link between whale deaths and offshore wind farms, or it showed conclusively that the wind industry is behind
Love
the
you.
imminent
Bye-bye.
extinction of North Atlantic right whales, which is quite a bold claim. So either Schellenberger has evidence that dozens of scientific studies have missed, or there's something he misunderstands or misrepresented. Let's take a look at his video.
And when I walk outside my door, I'm in the middle of nature.
Yeah, all right.
With all of the beauty and all of the quiet.
Come on.
And it's not reproducible.
There's an awful lot of emotional imagery and music and feeling.
Right, and that's a great point. What kind of a fucking documentary does that? Get to the facts, right? Fuck your narrative trying to convince people with music and dark tones and low speaking and whatever and crying and whatever the fuck else you're doing. Show me the facts. Show me the science. That's it. You're a documentary, or are you just a bullshit? No, it's not a documentary. That's what's funny. Wait till you find out who funded it.
For much of the video. So let's skip through all of that and get to the video's premise, which is twofold. Firstly, that the noise of sonic surveys in the wind-lease areas may alter the feeding pattern of whales and exhaust them or separate mothers from suckling calves. No evidence for that is presented, but it is an interesting hypothesis. The only real piece of evidence the video presents is that an increase in traffic in the wind farm areas, not sonic surveys, just more ships, correlates to the increase in whale deaths. But the whole purpose of fact-checking is to see if that's true. In the video, Rob Rand, an acoustic engineer,
Yeah, she does.
is taken out to a survey ship.
My mom kisses me, totally. Yep, and I kiss my mom with this mouth. Absolutely. But you it's funny, is I called you and your mother a cunt, and you didn't even defend your mother. You really are. She did raise a cunt. Your mom really did raise a cunt, and she's a dumb cunt, too. You just proved it. Wow, really? You got no response? I called your mom a cunt. Wow.
To measure the sound level.
Yeah, I think the 3 layers, you can see the...
Really? It's funny because you came in here and attacked me trying to say that I was wrong about stop signs. That's funny. Ad hominem, really? Yeah, you attacked me, you dumbass. Funny. Huh, see how that worked? See, you ad hominem me, so I ad hominem you back. And except the only problem is, I got more balls than you, so my attack comes out, 1,000 times more vicious, and you cunt off because you've been bested, by the podcast leader. Whatever, dude. Fuck off. Fuck off, you little wannabe. And it's ad hominem, you idiot.
So how noisy is that?
God, man, I love these motherfuckers that try to come off smart. And they don't even know what the fuck they're saying.
Plays best for an audience. But it seems that at sea, Rob Brand could
Let's do a dab.
noise quite comfortably.
Got anything else for me there, Mr. fucking Wise Troll? Let me know. Let me know what you got. I fucking got you all fucking day.
Has to cover her ears and shout to be heard, apparently. In other words, it all depends on whether you turn up the volume to 11.
Numbers all go to 11. Look, right across the board. 11, 11, most 11.
Amps go up to 10.
Exactly.
Does that mean it's louder? Is it any louder?
Well, it's one louder, isn't it?
It isn't very scientific.
To one louder,
Doesn't
isn't
tell
it?
us much. So let's look at how loud survey ships are compared to other noises in the ocean, and then we'll see what that means for the whales. We'll use the screamometer as a kind of non-scientific scale. This table comes from a 2009 study by John Hildebrand, recording the noise levels of various human activities in the ocean. This is a typical sonar system, as used by ships surveying the sea bottom for wind farms. This is a similar system, and they both have a noise level of around 231 decibels at source. Of course, the further away you are from that source, the lower the reading. And it's a characteristic of this kind of sonar that the noise projects in a cone downwards. So this is where that stands on Schellenberger's less than scientific screamometer.
Fucking Schellenberger.
It's a
Schellenberger.
button given off by a single cargo vessel traveling at
That's the
60
best.
knots.
That's the best thing I came up
decibels.
with all week.
Might score
Schellenberger. God, I'm
on a
great.
screamometer, but cargo vessels, shipping boats, cruise liners, and warships are much more numerous than survey ships. And
So
the
they
combined effect of
says.
dozens or even hundreds of ships using their propellers gives a constant ambient sound that is way above 90 decibels in a busy area.
Okay,
Unlike sonar surveying, the noise goes out
1919.
in all directions. So for the very unscientific
1919.
screamometer, we have to give the
Nothing
combined
happened in
effect of ships'
1919.
propellers a
Absolutely nothing happened in 1919. Except I did a dab.
The next loudest common noise is pile driving at around 237 decibels, and this is also associated with wind farm development. Then comes naval sonar used in anti-submarine activity, but by far the loudest common noise in the ocean, seismic surveys during oil exploration, hits 260 decibels because they use air guns. Not so loud, you say? Oh, you haven't heard it yet. There you go. Instead of a pinging sound to the seafloor, which is what sonar survey ships...
So do you understand what he's saying? Wind farms produce a little bit of sound. They do. But you know what makes the most sound? When they're drilling for oil. Oh, are you starting to understand why Donald Trump is telling you lies about fucking wind farms now? Yeah, I have a limited vocabulary. So do you. You said at hominem. At least I knew that word and you didn't. So yeah, you're dumber than me as proven by your chat. What else you got there, fucking son of a cunt? Cunt of a cunt? You got anything else? Still not going to address that one, huh?
Blast of air bubbles, creating a shockwave.
God, man. I like my trolls a little smarter.
It has to be
Dude, did I?
Because while sonar surveys
I said 1919? What am I saying here?
Map the bedrock.
I don't know.
Oil companies need to map what's underneath the bedrock.
I think I forgot my dab.
Meters.
Dude, did I wait?
Studies show that
I'm going to have to
wells are
redo the dab. I'm going to redo the dab.
And the louder
I think
the
I got
noise, the
distracted.
greater the effect.
Let me do this over again.
At the level of sonar surveys, they change whale behavior. At the level of seismic surveys, whales
I may have written the
swim away
time
from
down
the
wrong.
noise and may experience ear damage and disorientation. Details and sources are always in the video description, so please go there if you want to find out more. There's no doubt that this cacophony of sound is damaging to whales. So what evidence is there that only sonar...
Yeah, your mom's a cunt. It's a 4-letter word. You're a cunt. She raised a cunt. You're both fucking cunts. Your dad's a cunt too. You're all cunts. Yeah, I like 4-letter words. Get the fuck over it. When I say cunts, it's 5 letters. So I'm expanding my vocabulary already thanks to you. I appreciate that, buddy. Thank you. I really do appreciate that. All right, let's see if we can get the time right on this one.
Surveys for wind farms are causing these excessive whale deaths.
Okay, let's try this again.
England. And not
22. We're going to 22:10.
Or engaged in a geophysical.
But we're not going to miss the time. We're not going to miss the bus.
For the Navy, or mining companies, or dredging companies. Schellenberger says wind farms are to blame because...
The first thing is to say that we see a very strong...
Unhinged. There is the word unhinged. I don't know. I think all my shit's pretty much connected. Unhinged. I don't see that.
Correlation between the industrial wind activity and these whale deaths. So we actually, in the research,
Schellenberger.
in the documentary film, we show that there has been an
the documentary, he calls it.
Strong correlation to those periods of wind industry
strong
activity.
Correlation. Yeah, and there's a strong correlation between oil rigs and fucking whale deaths too, dumbass. And that's what you really should be studying. But you won't, because you work for people that want to drill, 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 baby. Who said that? Oh, that's right. It's Donald Trump. Drill, drill, drill. Oh, great.
So let's...
That's not killing the whales, though.
Presented in his video.
Uptick.
No law regarding cannabis. Cheers, everybody.
2016, there was a slight dip in deaths in 2022, and in the first 6 months of 2023, so just half a year, we've had roughly 40 plus whales have died.
It's amazing and depressing.
It is depressing. But before we jump back to playing on people's emotions, I'm a bit confused about where the correlation is in what we've just seen. Let's skip through the emotional editorial and see how this correlates with sonar surveys. Sorry, we've got a lot of feelings to work through.
You know, because it's a documentary.
So if we look at early part, December 2016 through 6 months later into May of 2017, as you can see, there's like traffic, a few whales here and there. But as you can see in this lease area south of Martha's Vineyard, there's really no traffic at all.
Yet, as the video points out, 2016 was when whale deaths suddenly started to increase.
The uptick truly happened beginning in 2016.
And that rise continued into 2017.
Cheers,
Again,
Asa. Cheers, hippie chick.
There was no traffic in the lease area they focus on. So no correlation. And if you're wondering why they've changed from trying to find a correlation with sonar surveys to
Fan me, baby.
correlation with marine traffic, I have no idea either. Then the video skips a couple of years for some reason and goes straight to 2019.
If we go now, and this is January to May 2019, and this is the whole New York Bight all the way out, and as you can see, lots of traffic. Lots of whale stranding like that, or whale deaths.
So, from 2017 to 2019, when the video says traffic in the wind farm area went up, it shows the number of whale deaths going down. So again, no correlation. Then the video leaves out the data from 2020 and most of 2021, for some reason, and shifts to a completely different wind lease area further south.
So this is October 21 to February of 2022. And then when we switch, we see all this lease area traffic.
But as the video showed earlier, whale deaths went down in 2021 and 2022. And I didn't just pull these numbers out of a hat. I'm using the same figures the video uses. They don't tell us where they came from, of course, but it doesn't matter, because even if they're made up, they still don't show a correlation.
Lots of traffic. Lots of whale strandings and deaths, or whale deaths.
But having lots of one thing and lots of another thing isn't a correlation. There's lots of ice cream consumed in the world, and lots of people dress up as Santa Claus, but you'd be hard put to find a correlation between the two.
December.
The
Santa dresses all up in December.
So that when wind
and then ice cream goes down when it gets cold outside. I love that.
But the video
so funny.
shows quite convincingly that the opposite happens for both of the two time frames shown. And if there was a correlation, a sudden uptick in whale deaths ought to correlate to an uptick in wind farm activity, not a complete absence of wind farm activity. The only correlation we can see is Schellenberger's claim that there's a correlation, which goes completely unchallenged and is gullibly believed based on, I'm guessing, blind faith.
Schellenberger is a cunt liar and the kind of misinformant that Jimmy Dore would put 100% stock behind. I'm telling you, that is the kind of misinformant that Jimmy Dore would have on his show, and he would praise him for his lying and misinformation and lack of homework, doing any of the fucking science or due diligence.
The video and see if they match up. Not only do we see no correlation between whale deaths and traffic in the New England wind farm areas, all sonic surveys come to that, we don't see it in other parts of the world either.
Hey, Steve Running, good morning.
Whale deaths are rising around the world, including places where there are no wind farms. And they aren't rising any faster in areas where there are more wind farms. For example, there are over 2,600 offshore wind turbines in the UK and only 7 in New England. So if there was a correlation, we ought to have seen a rise in whale deaths reflecting that 37,000% difference. But we don't. An annual report that looks into all cetacean deaths around the UK shows, if you look at those violet-coloured bars, a fall in the number of cetacean deaths between 2004 and 2010, at a time when wind farm construction was rapidly rising. Same from 2011 to 2015. That's even clearer when the cetacean deaths are broken down by area. Wind farms are mostly concentrated on the east coast of England, as you can see from this map. But the number of cetacean deaths along the east coast, the light blue line, is little different to other parts of the English coastline. Still, this belief that there's some kind of correlation between whale deaths and wind farms has become an internet fact. It was put forward as evidence against wind farms by 30 New Jersey coastal mayors last year in an open letter to federal legislators. Again, they cited no study and provided no figures showing a correlation, and they repeated the claim.
Now, you have to wonder how stupid these 30 New Jersey coastal mayors would have to be collectively. There's 30 people, all right, all in the same state, and they're all being fucking indoctrinated to believe this lie. And then they all believe it so passionately that they just decide they're all going to sign their names to it. Those are our leaders. Those are people that we vote into office. We're idiots. We're so dumb. We want idiots to rule over us and lie to us. What are we, a bunch of fucking babies?
The government agencies confidently determined that wind farm activities are not a contributing factor in recent whale deaths. That's not the conclusion of the government agencies responsible. And that claim was also made by Schellenberger's documentary. The lead-in says that for years the government has insisted that the increase... Hey, where have I heard this before?
For years, the government has insisted that the increase in whale deaths off the East Coast has
no relationship to the wind industry's high decibel pile driving and boat activity.
Yeah, why spend time researching and writing your own script when you can just copy it off an advertising plug from the people you're supposed to be questioning?
Can you fuck... Not only did he just plagiarize his intro, not only that, but he plagiarized it from the very people that are trying to convince him of this misinformation. This takes cult-level indoctrination to a whole new level. I mean, Robbie obviously didn't think that anybody was going to catch him doing that because, dude, you're a journalist. You're supposed to write things, including the things that you're talking about. You're supposed to write them. You're not just supposed to go to some website and download it and read it. You're a fucking journalist, dude. You know, at least you try to pass yourself off as one, but, you know, we've re-engineered journalism as well. So now, you want a journalist, this is what you fucking get. And I just want to go back. I want to go back, and I want you to hear him fucking read this out again, so you can hear what a douchebag the morons over there at fucking Rising are. They're idiots.
Documentary. The lead-in says that for years the government has insisted that the increase... Hey, where have I heard this before?
For years, the government has insisted that the increase in whale deaths off the East Coast has no relationship to the wind industry's high-decibel pile driving and boat activity.
Yeah, why spend time researching and writing your own script when you can just copy it off an advertising plug from the people you're supposed to be questioning? The easiest way to find out what the government agency responsible says about whale deaths and wind farms is to check its website. I've never seen a statement saying there's no link, just that there's no evidence of a link or no known link, which is exactly what NOAA says here. And then this.
Marine biologists that I've talked with over the years talk about avoidance and aversion, and that doesn't seem to be accounted for in the NOAA and BOEM paperwork that I've seen so far. They don't make the connection between a loud noise in the water and species moving away from that noise.
Well, it took me all of
Hey,
10
Michael
seconds to
Haskey.
find this on NOAA's website. Grey whales or humpback whales may change their migratory path to avoid exposure to loud noises. And another 10 seconds to find this on one of the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management websites. A citation of this paper, which also talks about whales avoiding loud noises and moving away from the source of a noise. There's a lesson here, by the way. If you want to know what a person or an organization says, go and find out directly from them. Don't take the word of critics whose aim is to discredit them. Since everything that Schellenberger, the mayors, and some media are telling us seems to be made up in the internet echo chamber, perhaps it's time we found out what the science says. Why did we see an increase in whale deaths from 2016?
Is anyone here a marine biologist?
There are a few hypotheses put forward by marine biologists. The most robust one is that warmer water causes fish and smaller organisms to move further north or closer to the coast, and whales move with them. Ironically, the kind of warming that wind farms are being built to mitigate. The move brought whales into contact with heavier marine traffic, where most of the increase in whale deaths have been seen. Again, propeller strikes and fish line entanglements are the main culprit. I can usually predict the response I'm going to get in the comments section, so here's one post I'm going to head off at the pass right now. But surely, as a precaution, we should stop wind farm construction until we're sure. Now that is a matter of opinion, so for that, we need to go into the opinion room.
She said, oh, and I hate your accent. Your fake accent.
It seems a bit odd to curtail one economic activity without any evidence that it causes whale deaths.
Oh, and I hate your
yet
phony
continue
accent.
Economic activities that are far more harmful and others that we know kill whales.
Damn, gotta sit through two
For
ads to
example,
get to
if
you on
we're going
Rumble.
with
Your
the
ads today
precautionary
were for a
principles,
Japanese
loud
gambling
noises
cruise
may
and
kill
Russian
whales,
teeth whitener.
Then the loudest noises aren't wind farm active.
You know you can fast forward through the ad. There's a thing at the bottom right corner. If you click right, you could skip the ads, or does that gone now? Number one. Number two, if you do watch the ads and you click on them, I think I get some money on that. So I think that's how that works. So if you are watching ads, thank you. That just means more money for me at the end of the month.
Activity, but airgun blasts used in seismic surveys for oil exploration.
And
wait, before
there you go.
you pull the plug on those seismic surveys, it would be a lot easier and more effective to stop having lobster for dinner, because we know that lobster pot ropes kill whales. Better yet, use a type of lobster trap that doesn't lead to entanglement.
5 seconds.
There are other measures that can be
That's
taken,
tolerable.
like imposing a speed limit on cargo ships in areas where whales are found.
I hope I'm worth the
Get rid
10
of
seconds.
ghost nets that cause entanglements. Most environmental organizations that have been trying to protect whales for decades are concerned with all of those things, as well as wind farms. So I have to wonder why there's been this sudden interest in whale protection by people who are only interested in stopping wind farms and none of all the other much louder noises and none of the things that we know are killing whales. The same thing is happening in Australia, which is now considering offshore wind farms in New South Wales. One of the biggest opponents is Barnaby Joyce, a former leader of the Nationals Party, which predominantly... Hang on, have I got the wrong video here?
So
no,
funny.
no, that is Barnaby Joyce. His party...
And let me just stop right here and just say, you guys can listen to PotHoler and be like, dude, he's not hardcore like Nay is. Nay sits there and fucking yells and screams and curses, and that's what I like, blah, blah, blah. Dude, PotHoler is fucking brutal. And if you don't get it, you're not paying attention. He's fucking brutal. And he's awesome. And all of you should be following PotHoler54 on YouTube. Dude, he's got 233,000 subscribers. It's a shame. You know, he should have over 2 million by now. But YouTube is obviously shutting him down. You know, this video was put up a few hours ago and it's only got 7,500 views. It should have 100,000 views on it instantly, man. You know, people should be exposed to this stuff. It's fucking psychotic. You know, YouTube doesn't want you to have the truth.
Joyce seems very keen to...
They want you to have, you know, Jimmy Dore and Dr. John Campbell. Hey, Pinoy.
The much louder air gun blasts used in oil and gas exploration. So I wondered, is it possible that these newbies to the whale protection movement are more about opposing renewable energy than protecting whales? To find the answer, let's take a look at who made that infamous video. It's funded, or as the caption puts it, generously supported by two organizations, Public and Environmental Progress. Environmental Progress was founded by its president, who is, Michael Schellenberger. And the other organization, Public, is a blog founded and run
hilarious.
I'll let you guess.
This is hilarious.
And if you guessed Michael Schellenberger, you're wrong. No, just kidding. Of course you're right. It's Michael Schellenberger.
I told you he's brutal.
Schellenberger's
hey, Pinoy, $5. Thank you. Thank you. $5 tip.
Director to make the video.
That's what we're doing a dab for.
Schellenberger, the producer, thanked himself for his generous support in making the videos that he produced.
That's hilarious.
Okay.
Dude, what a cunt.
Joyce's opposition...
He thanked himself.
...to renewable energy is understandable because a lot of his constituents are in coal mining and oil and gas production. So, of course, he has to oppose any new energy source that threatens their jobs. That's the way democracy works.
That's the way democracy works.
Represent the interests of
Dude, like I said, you need to pay attention to what he's saying.
But with Schellenberger, it seems to be weirdly ideological. Through Environmental Progress, he thinks climate change is overblown and that action isn't necessary, at least not for decades, because it's all exaggerated by fraudulent
over on the Instagram
to get research grants.
If Sparkle Rose Jennifer 1980 is still watching, I do see we do have one viewer on IG, so whoever that is, thank you. Feel free to come on over to Rumble. I'm at Nay's Garden on Rumble and get the widescreen experience instead of just a sliver of my show that IG will allow.
His other organization, Public, has never taken any interest in whales in the first place. Its blogs are all about politics.
You can also watch on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitch, on Twitter.
But it's important to remember that in the United States,
Odyssey
is governed by the principle that you have to oppose whatever your political opponent proposes, however worthy it may be. If you can't find some legitimate reason to oppose it, most political pundits simply make...
It's running on 300 auto. And it can't even run 300 auto. Are you fucking kidding me?
Make something up, as we've seen. Look, there's no doubt that building wind farms is a noisy affair, and it's going to affect marine life and the environment. Everything we do at sea affects marine life and the environment. Some things are avoidable and inexcusable, other things are a trade-off between the environment and economics, the lifestyle we want to lead. We accept the need for cargo ships, even though they do kill whales, because...
Yeah, we accept the need for cars, even though they do kill
now
kids.
We've accepted the need for oil exploration,
you know?
Oil rigs, and inevitable oil spills, because our energy demands have depended on that. Just as we're going to have to depend more and more on wind power. Only extremists would say that we should ignore the environment totally in favour of our economic well-being, or ignore our economic well-being totally in favour of the environment. I think most people understand that we have to balance the two. The one positive thing I'd say about wind farms is that the environmental damage they do is balanced by the environmental benefits of fewer CO2 emissions. And that will mitigate ocean warming and ocean acidification, both of which are already hurting whale populations and are going to be far more damaging to whale populations in the future.
Hey, Ice, what's up, buddy?
One last thing. You don't need to send me money for these videos, but since people have asked if they can contribute, I would ask you to support a charity that's flourished in large part because of your generous donations. It gives healthcare to poor communities living on the edge of forests, and in return they pledge not to cut down trees,
30
which
seconds.
they had routinely done in the past, mainly to
Horses kill more
expensive
people than
medical
cars.
bills. I first came across this organisation when they won an environmental award in London, and the BBC sent me to Borneo to make a 30-minute programme about their work. I was so impressed that when people wanted to send me money, I said, please send it to Health in Harmony instead. Links are in the video description, but
That's
basically it works
No law
like
regarding
this.
cannabis. Cheers, everybody.
A village which routinely used to fell protected areas
Cheers,
of forest when someone in the family got sick, hand over their chainsaws and promise not to cut down any more trees. In return, a clinic is set up, staffed by young doctors from the city looking to gain experience. The villagers pay for their care with tree saplings, which even the poorest of them can afford. The saplings are planted by volunteers to restore areas of rainforest that were logged, and the carbon credits that Health in Harmony gets from this are used to pay the doctors and run the clinic. The model has been so successful that a scientific paper has been written about it.
Big dab.
I'm pleased to announce the latest figures for your generous donations are close to $360,000 US. This money has allowed Health in Harmony to expand from its beginnings in Indonesia to start up in Madagascar, Brazil, and now into Papua New Guinea. So a huge thank you to everyone who's donated, and especially to those who've set up recurring donations, which is a great help to the charity's projections of future income. Every time I don't feel like opening up the computer and slogging through the research for my latest video, I remind myself that if I don't get the next video out, Health in Harmony won't get its money, and that could be a life or death decision. For a magnificent tree or for a child. I'm doing my bit, so please, if you watch the videos, and even if you hate them, you're still watching them, so I'd really appreciate a continuance of your generous support. Thanks, everyone.
Just remember this. PotHoler 54, where are you? All right, go follow PotHoler 54 on YouTube. Now, how did rocks become knobbly and bumpy? Do volcanoes produce more CO2 than human activity? If ocean levels are rising, why can't we see it? 29 minutes. You'd think that would have been a shorter answer. Fact check, can't watch that one. It's about that. He does a few things on that we can't cover on this show because I'll get the strike. Lockdown. More shit I can't talk about probably. God, he did a lot of videos. Yeah, fuck you, algorithms. You don't know what I said just now. Do you? Suck it, algorithms. Suck it. Fuck you, algorithms. Fuck you. Good morning, Justin McLeod, my friend. Let's see what else we got here. He's still talking about the... We want to watch his channel trailer. Let's do that. Let's watch his channel trailer.
Internet.
It's 8 minutes and 40 seconds long. I have no idea what it entails. Let's watch his channel trailer. Okay.
Hello and welcome.
These are clips.
This channel is part of the fight back against junk science that's now pervading the internet. If you want to know whether some of the scientific claims you see in blogs and videos are true,
study on rats finds a link between cell phones and cancer,
and you're interested in knowing what the real science says, this might be the channel for you. My name's Peter Hatfield. I'm a former geologist who became a professional science journalist back in the days before the internet, so I do my research the old-fashioned way. I track down where the bloggers and video makers got their information from, and then show how they changed, misunderstood, or even deliberately misrepresented it. But why don't I show you an example? Here's a snippet debunking an episode of the TV program Conspiracy Theory.
The top secret.
Follow the money. Follow the money.
Nay-ture investigating HAARP's triggering of the Boxing Day tsunami that hit large parts of Southeast Asia.
This photo was actually taken just before the big tsunami hit the coast of Indonesia.
So how do we know it was taken just before the tsunami? It meant taking the Conspiracy Show logo off the bottom of the photo and doing a search for it on Google Images. And presto, I discovered
Billy says, ever had a car bite your fingers off, then kick your head open like a melon? No, it sounds like something a horse would do. As a cheers, hippie chick cheers, Pinoy, hell yeah. If AI is so smart, why can't it understand what pictures have traffic light? What pictures have traffic lights in them? Dude, why can't AI draw hands correctly yet? Have you guys seen that? AI can't figure out how to draw hands yet. It's fucking hilarious.
exactly the same photo on sale for $24 at Dave Miller's Posters Wanted website. Not only is there no indication that this commercial picture was taken before or even in the same decade as the tsunami, it's not even in the same hemisphere. It's advertised as the Aurora Australis, the Southern Lights. And after busting the myths in TV shows, blogs, videos and newspapers, I show what the real science says. Not my theories, that would make me no better than all the MOOC experts on the internet. I'm talking about the science that's taught to the next generation of scientists, that comes from the scientific literature.
You know, the re-engineer generation. The re-engineer generation.
And I promise it's not hard to follow, even if...
They came right after me. They came right after me, man. There's this re-engineer, and now they're running shit. And they're doing it all wrong. They're putting their nieces and their nephews in there, and they're fucking slapping their ball sacks on the code.
If you dropped out of science in high school, you'll be able to see...
Slapping their ball sacks on the code, I say!
Cool. Here are 3 more clips from my videos. Because if GMOs really are the cause of cancer, brain damage, metabolic collapse, and what else?
Digestive disorders, organ damage, tumors, allergies.
Yeah, right. Then that ought to show up among the billions of people and animals who've been consuming it over the last 20 to 30 years.
And that's what I said about that. That's exactly what I said about that. It's like billions. That's a hell of a fucking experiment, man. How's that working out for us? Pretty good.
Compared to those who haven't. The studies that have been done have all drawn a blank. So let's try the opposite tack.
This is a dinosaur bone, by the way. It's been replaced by minerals.
Whoa, hold on before you get to the but. Did I just hear you say it's been replaced by minerals? So in fact, there's no carbon in it. And this would seem to be rather a crucial requirement if you want to perform carbon dating.
If I took this to a laboratory and said, would you please date this, they would say, oh, well, we'd have to use something other than carbon dating because this is too old for carbon dating.
No, Ken, they wouldn't. They'd say, "Oi, Owen, we can't carbon date this. There's no carbon in it." Let's take the graph on the left first, which narrator Warren Meyer says comes from Moberg's 2005 study. If we look at Moberg's original, we can see that the instrumental temperature data showing late 20th century warming has been erased. Worse than that, Moberg's proxy data, that he says in the caption goes back as far as 1979, is extended to make it look as though it goes up to the year 2000. The scale's been changed. You can see that more clearly when I match the two graphs up. Notice how the doctored graph ends short of the recent period of warming, but the date has been changed to 2000. So in the doctored graph, 30 years of warming is simply airbrushed out, and if you dispute something I've said, hey, no problem. I list all my sources in the video descriptions, whether it's the source of whatever I'm critiquing, so you can be sure I haven't set up a straw man, or whether it's a list of my scientific sources so that you can check I'm reporting the science accurately.
It's fucking awesome. This goes on. We're 4 minutes in. It goes for another 4 minutes. So that's PotHoler 54 on YouTube. I mean, I couldn't stress enough how much I've learned from watching that guy's channel. And I've watched him for years. So I like watching Thunderfoot. It's 2 zeros. Go find him on YouTube, Thunderfoot's channel. He's almost exclusively goes after Elon Musk now, which is pretty funny. It's weird. You would think that engineers would design quieter methods of drilling underwater to not make that much noise to scare the wildlife. But I guess they don't fucking care enough. You know, where they're using some kind of a fucking hammer drill. You know, maybe they need to come up with like diamond fucking plated fucking just regular fucking drill bits, man. You know? I don't know. He sounded exactly like Thunderfoot. Yeah, they're similar. They might be from around the same area. I've noticed that their accents are similar. There's a slight difference. But yeah, I've noticed that. It's funny you said that. He sounds exactly like Thunderfoot. He sounds English. Like they both sound English, you know. Yeah, it's just I think their voices are different. But I think the accent might be the same. The more I think about it. You have to hear him say aluminium. And then you'll know. Aluminium. Right? No, totally. No, there's a different voice. That's how your navigation talks. That's a different voice. It's a different voice. Different person. He said what his name was at the beginning of that video. Please feel free to mirror it or pass it on if you'd like other people to get to know this channel. Thanks. So he's got a free invitation for me to
Hello
use.
and welcome. This channel is part of the fight back against junk
to use his
science
content.
that's now pervading the internet. If you want to know whether some of the scientific claims you see in blogs and videos are true,
Study on rats finds a link between cell phones and cancer.
and you're interested in knowing what the real science says, this might be the channel for you. My name's Peter Hadfield.
So that's not Thunderfoot's name. Thunderfoot's name is people call him by his real name to try to shame him. His name is like Phil something. And his voice sounds completely different. It really does. Thunderfoot Elon Musk is the second thing that comes up under Thunderfoot. That's so funny. This one was 4 days ago. I saw.
Fortunately, our handsomest politicians came up with a cheap, last-minute way to combat global warming.
But what if we could tap into all those materials flying around in space? Some scientists claim we could mine asteroids in the future. Yes, asteroids.
Ever since 2063, we simply drop a giant ice cube into the ocean every now and then. Of course, since the greenhouse gases are still building up, it takes more and more ice each time.
Now, if this sounds out of reach, remember that just 6 years ago, the Rosetta spacecraft managed to land on a 2.5-mile wide comet.
Comet ice, the new solution to global warming.
Wait, where do we get the ice? Oh, Halley's Comet, of course. The only sufficient source of ice cubes that don't have bugs in them. Thus solving the problem once and for all. Once and for all!
But why not? After all, if you put an ice cube in a glass, does it not get cooler? And comets are mostly ice. So could you not sensibly cool the planet with cometary ice? And how long would Halley's Comet, if we could just dump the whole thing into the ocean, actually keep us cool for? No spoilers quite yet. Now, the interesting thing about comets is they're blocks of ice at about 100,000 degrees Celsius. That's hotter than the surface of the sun. I already mean that in a cryptic...
Dude, how the fuck is that possible? He just broke my brain. Will you just say that it's so cold it's hotter than the sun? Did you guys catch that? Let me go back.
Is there blocks of ice at about 100,000 degrees Celsius. That's hotter than the surface of the sun. I already mean that in a cryptic fashion, but a literal one. But how can that be? Ice melts at 0 degrees Celsius. So how can it be a block of solid ice hotter than the surface of the sun?
Density.
Cool. So
Density.
let's take a look at the universe, shall we? Something that you probably breathed out in the last millisecond or so. Some air and a small droplet of water. This is actually a pretty good proxy for most of the matter on the Earth. A bunch of sticky balls called atoms, and temperature is how fast they go. So what you're looking at here is a computer simulation called molecular mechanics, and it's actually pretty accurate for these sorts of things. The blue diatomic molecules there are nitrogen, that's most of the air that you're breathing. The red ones are oxygen. Those are the ones you die in about a minute if you don't get enough of. And the chili ball is water, the stuff that makes up about 70% of your body and covers about 70% of the planet's surface. Now, in any system like this that's thermal equilibrium, on average, all of the particles have the same energy. Now, some of these particles travel faster and some of them slower. But on average, the energy of every particle in the system will look exactly the same. And the faster the average speed, the hotter the system. That is, energy, the speed, is essentially temperature. Now, water molecules are stickier than gas molecules, so they mostly stick together in a ball we call
Ted the
water.
Great, what's up?
And the gas molecules are also sticky, but much less so. Now, water molecules evaporating is actually a super rare event, which is why if you leave a glass of water out, it'll take a long time to evaporate. Even at 100 degrees Celsius with a powerful heater, it'll take 10 plus minutes to evaporate all of the water molecules from a liter of water. Now, here's your fundamental problem. You want to cool Earth down. That is, you need to make the molecules here move very slightly slower. How much by?
Science is awesome.
Well, if you didn't notice me doing it, that's how much by. But wait, you said temperature was just the average speed of the molecules. So what happens if I take that ball of water and accelerate it? Doesn't that mean that it's actually hotter? Well,
Hotter.
kind of
So his
depends on
accent's a
your
little
frame
different than
of reference.
PotHoler's.
So
They
this
are
is
from
a
different
drop of
areas.
water that's just sat here on Earth, sort of
Earth.
thermal equilibrium. And this is a drop of water shooting through space.
I bet they're
about
friends.
100 times the speed
I bet they know
of a
each other.
rifle bullet. Now, both look like liquid water. However, remember what I was saying, the temperature is essentially the average speed of the molecules. Now let's take a step back to a little bit of orbital mechanics. The sun is a big, heavy thing that creates a big potential well, and as you get closer to it, you go faster. And it turns out that when you're at about the distance of the Earth going around the sun, and yes, that's us, the little red one there, whizzing around. I've obviously sped up time a little here. It takes usually about a year for the Earth to go around the sun, rather than a few seconds. But that does mean that our orbital velocity around the sun is some 30 kilometers per second. But it turns out, if you're on the edge of the solar system just falling into the sun, that's also about the speed that you get by the time you're at the distance from where the Earth is from the sun. This is basically what comets do with their highly elliptical orbits. That is, comets, when they whiz past the Earth, are typically traveling also about 30 kilometers per second. This is, incidentally, the next flyby of Halley's Comet, which is in the summer of 2061. And the program I'm using to visualize this is called Celestia, which is, first of all, free and strongly recommended. I should stress that at this point that the speed of sound is about 0.3 kilometers per second. That's about the speed bullets go at. So we're looking at about 100 times the speed of a rifle bullet. That's how quickly you're going around the sun. And there is an awful lot of going quickly and not a lot of spinning going on. So this is what it actually looks like as the Earth is going around the sun. Yeah, it does rotate a bit, but most of it is just the Earth hurtling through space. And the guy following just after, that's the moon. So if you ever want to do the Superman thing, faster than a speeding bullet, the quick version is just look up at sunrise, and that's
All right,
the
y'all.
direction you're hurtling
Thanks for
through
watching. I will
space
see you on the
at
next
about 30
show.
kilometers per second.
Follow Thunderfoot and PotHoler 54 on YouTube, and find me on Twitter at Nay's Garden. That's where I'll be until the next show. Thanks, guys. Bye.